Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Sportscast Podcast. This week we'll summarise the second round of the Six Nations Rugby, take a look at the liveries and news out of Formula One, a roundup of the football from the Premier League and the Championship League 1, League 2, as well as talking about the big one, the Super Bowl, live from Las Vegas.
Gentlemen, how are we?
Yeah, not bad, you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Jordan?
Yeah, I'm sound, thank you.
Good. Probably be a little bit more of a quicker one this week. It's been fairly quiet in the world of sport, but I think we kick off an exciting weekend of the Six Nations. We don't get to talk too much about it, so Premier League can take a bit of a back seat.
It was a good weekend, really, for rugby, wasn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, I think you only got to look at yesterday's game to sort of see, 6 points difference between both games total. It's extremely tight. France beating Scotland with a dubious. Did you see that?
I watched that this afternoon. What do you think? Because I kind of agree with the decision that was made. I don't think there's clear enough evidence to suggest that the ball was grounded.
What happened? So for Jordan, for anyone that hasn't seen it,
yeah,
it's 2016 to France. Scotland go over. It's held up initially, and then you see with the TMO another angle, and the ball drops, and it does. I think it does touch the ground, and it is over the line. I don't think there's no two ways about it. But his arm, to me, the decision was not enough clear evidence, even though the TMO says you can see this angle where the ball touches the floor. But I think the ball falls, and if you notice, the ball goes down, and then his forearm goes back on top.
Yeah, I don't think he was in control.
So I think he's actually knocked it forward. He's dropped the ball, but that was never even mentioned. And this as well, Jordan, was all in added on time, so that ended the game. That was it. So Scotland would have won, but without that, they lost by 4, which probably a little bit harsh. Scotland looked fantastic for the first half. Van der Merwe for me is probably the second best winger in the world at the minute. I think he's phenomenal. So a little bit unfortunate for them. And then obviously our game against England, for the first time ever, we went in at half time in the Six Nations, leading England at Twickenham.
Okay.
But
we still ballsed it up.
Yes, but we've never been a good team in the lead. We've never predominantly managed the game well.
The first half from Wales yesterday was the complete opposite to the first half against Scotland last week. Wales in the first half were brilliant yesterday. The only thing I will say that they let themselves down with a bit is that when England went down to 13 men, Wales could not capitalise and score any points whilst they're 2 men short.
Conceded a try.
Yeah, and that's where it's quite worrying. Where you've got 2 extra players and you're still conceding points.
Yeah,
but that aside, I thought they were very good yesterday. First half,
they've just got to get. I think the thing is that you've got a team full of youngsters. In 2 or 3 years' time, a bit more experience. I think at one point, the Wales 2 props, their total caps was 8. England's was like 160.
Yeah.
So, the experience difference was incredible, but you still have to manage the game well. And like you say, down to 13 men, you're conceding points. That's not managing the game. That's not, you're kicking into space. And if there's not space, that means there's fewer players in front of you to attack the game line. So, just little things like that
that'll all come with experience, and that'll
yeah. So,
big win for Ireland as well today.
Yeah, and Andy Farrell's come out and he's mildly pleased. He'll settle for a 36-0 win. So
I was going to say, do you think it was obviously a good win for Ireland, over Italy, but do you think they could have had more? 36 is quite tame.
I think Italy. Italy, I said it last week. Their game that they played last week against England and whatnot. Their defence, they know how to defend the ball when in a crash ball situation. They're not frightened to tackle the player down, and they just lose points by making silly little mistakes and not being in the right position at the right time. But
I saw a stat this afternoon. In the last 12 Test matches, Ireland have conceded 12 tries. France is something like 30. Wales is 32. Scotland's 34. England's 34. Italy's 57.
Mm-hmm.
So defensively, and the sad thing is, you're right, James. They've got better.
Yeah, they have.
They pushed England last week. Last year, they lost to France by a point or so. The year before, they beat Wales.
Yep.
Yes, okay, we've not been very good from the Wayne Piviat days, but they're winning tests, and they're pushing teams. So yeah, it's good to see. But I think you're right, John. I think for the absolute, I think the second in the world at the minute, aren't they? Ireland, and they are the dominant team in this year's championship. I think 36-0 is fairly tame, if I'm being honest, but. We shall see. They've got to play Wales yet, and I think that is the battle of the wooden spoon, if I'm honest.
And I'll be honest, I think, and it pains me to say it, I think Italy would win that.
Yeah, I think the only thing is, and I'll be honest, even if they did, depending on how the fixtures fall. I mean, it's the game's at Millennium Stadium or Principality Stadium, but there's a chance that because Wales have a fifth with 3 points, France are fourth, who have won a game with 4 points. Wales have got 2 bonus losing points and a bonus point for 4 tries against Scotland.
Yeah.
So if we lost to Italy with a bonus point and a losing bonus point, we would still be above them. So we could technically lose and still and lose every game, but still not come bottom based on how well we've done when losing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But weekend off this week, and then we go again back end of the month, with the Saturday game being Ireland, Wales, France, Italy on the Sunday. Sorry, and it's Scotland, England on that Saturday. So the Calcutta Cup, which England haven't won for a few years. So
I do like watching the Scotland England games. They are belting.
Yeah, they are. So Formula One, not much has gone on in terms of racing or team news, but there's probably a big bit of news to come out, which I know you probably is no news to you, Jordan, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the internal investigation into Christian Horner continues. They've Red Bull have hired an independent barrister to look into accusations of what was the term that they used, Liam? It was like forceful behaviour or something like that, or
controlling and converting,
inappropriate controlling behaviour.
Yeah. I mean, he can be an arsehole. No, I take that back. He can't be an arsehole. He is an arsehole.
Yeah, but he's banging ginger spice.
Yeah, he's an arsehole.
What I like is how impartial you are there, Jordan.
Yeah, completely impartial. No, he is an arsehole. He's just very I find him condescending in the way that he speaks. That's maybe his tone. It's not necessarily the thing. Well, I suppose it is the things that he says as well. But I can understand maybe why somebody would have taken offence. I don't know whether it would have sparked a huge internal investigation. I personally can't see him losing his job or even resigning or anything like that. He's the team principal of the biggest team in Formula One at the moment, the most successful team in Formula One in the last 3 years, and I just think it will get swept under the rug or blown away. The only kind of meat on the bones to the entire story is that it was a Dutch newspaper that initially leaked the story, and obviously Jos and Max Verstappen are potentially maybe query behind that leak if they've had a bit of a fallout. But to be honest, I'm more interested in Toro Rosso, or as they're called, the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls livery, which is not carbon fiber black. It's the only car on the grid so far that's got a bit of colour on it. So
I'm just looking actually at the cars. You talk about the cars. They've released, a few of the teams have released images of their new cars, haven't they?
yes,
And I'm looking at them now, and I do like the look of the Williams one, that navy blue with the black.
yeah. A lot of the teams have gone. A lot of the teams are trying to get down to the target weight. They've added some additional aero when they've got rid of side pods. They've added some additional aero, which has added additional weight. So what they're trying to do is shave off weight where possible. And I can't remember the exact stat, but it's something like so many mils of paint saves a kilogram of weight, and a kilogram of weight is 0.03 seconds a lap, which is nothing, but in Formula One it's everything. So 0.03 seconds was the winning margin, not the winning margin, the distance between Alonso and Perez last year in Brazil. So I get why they're trying to do it, but the carbon fiber black cars with minimal paint, they just don't do it for me.
So I was thinking about this because you've come out and openly expressed your not love, but your preferredness to the RB, the former AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
I know how much you hate the Sauber. Now, I prefer the Sauber to any of them so far. But
do you prefer chewing crayons?
Let me explain though. I like the black with the neon green. However, initially, when a lot of the photos are taken in the dark, so the black doesn't look like carbon fiber. So if it was the black and the green neon, I really like it. But when you see it in the daylight with the carbon fiber bits, it's not as nice. And I probably would go with James and say that the Williams is the better looking of the 4 or 5 that are already released.
Yeah. Well, we've got the rest of the teams this week: Aston Martin, Ferrari, Mercedes, my team, McLaren, and Red Bull. Slipped my mind for a moment. There you go. We've already seen, surprisingly, the livery of the McLaren because they randomly released it, but they are still going ahead with the car launch on the 14th. They've completely scrapped
Mercedes as well.
Yeah.
I think is it the 15th the cut-off where they've got to have them released by anyway?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, there is a cut-off date.
The Red Bull are on the 15th, so that's the last team.
Beforehand, didn't they, or something?
Pardon?
They've got to be released 2 weeks before.
Yeah, the season. Yeah, and then at the end of the month, towards I don't know the exact date. I'll find out. But we have, I think it's Friday the 23rd, is Drive to Survive.
Yes, yeah. Two very quick bits of good news coming out of Formula One just before we move on. So the British Grand Prix has been extended until 2034, and the Suzuka Grand Prix in Japan has also been extended to 2029 as well. So we're in an era where they're potentially cutting like tracks like Barcelona. And then there's a number of other tracks coming up for tender in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
To see the British Grand Prix and the Suzuka Grand Prix on the calendar over the next, at least 5 years for Suzuka and then 10 years for British.
I do love Suzuka. Absolutely love it. So glad that's back, or that's continuing. I think to start at football, I think I watched probably more of this game than the home fans did in the stadium today. The West Ham Arsenal. Half time, you'd have probably got caught in less traffic leaving at full time than you would have done at half time. I couldn't believe it.
No, and I'm gutted because I didn't get to watch it.
Oh, well, let's just say, James. I think six is a bit of a compliment to West Ham. It could have been more. Could have easily been more. Yeah. You just looked so fluid going forward, and just everything was coming off, and it just looked vintage Arsenal. There's 2 points between yourself and Liverpool at the top of the table. Yes, Man City are in between with a game in hand, which would make them only 3 points ahead. It is a very tight year.
Mm. Yeah, it's. I think that's going to be a really exciting finish to the season, really. And I'm actually going to go as far as to suggest that I think the winner of this year's Premier League is going to be determined on goal difference. I don't think points are going to win it this year. I think that Liverpool and Man City are so tight together. I think it is going to go to a goal difference for the first time.
I'd love to see. I don't think this has happened for a number of years, but I'd love to see a final day of the Premier League kind of winner type thing. I don't.
Aguero.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm thinking it's going that way, and I think it's going to be so tight. I think goal difference is going to probably determine this year.
So a nice little 6-0 will help.
Villa couldn't capitalise today.
No, McTominay in the 86th minute, didn't he?
I know.
How many times is McTominay going to score winners for Man United? Because they were 1-0 down to, I think it was at Bournemouth a few weeks ago, and he came back, scored twice, and added on time. He just seems to come up with the goods.
Well, at least someone can.
Well, yeah. The 4 games unbeaten now, though. They're couple of points behind Villa in 6th. Villa are 5th, so I think Spurs are sat in 4th after a late win yesterday at Brighton. Well, at home to Brighton.
It's top 5, isn't it? They get Champions League football next year.
Top 4, yeah. 5 go into Europa League, and then it do 6th and 7th now go into the Europa Conference or something.
Depends what happens around like FA Cup and stuff.
Yeah. And obviously, like Spurs sit 4th, Aston Villa 5th. Like, it'd be nice to see Spurs in Champions League next year.
Yeah, I think Ange's done a really good job with them, and they're playing nice football. Did you see his comments at a media thing last week with Deadline Day? And he came in, and all the journos were sat there, and he sort of goes, I think it might have been the week before, and he goes. So it was nice. It's a shame we couldn't get any last minute deals over the line. We was really trying to get one, and but unfortunately he decided to go to Ferrari, and all the journalists sort of like, and he goes, look at you all with your pens ready to go, writing that story. He goes, you can't have a joke anymore with you guys, can you? Really, really good to see. He's a character and a half, and I think he's all right. It's good to see him in the Premier League. But Newcastle, good result, 3-2 away at Forest. Not really.
Good goal as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the purple patch, but they're coming back through. So
very much needed win for Sheffield United as well, away to Luton. And
Everton have now in the drop zone. I know we were talking last week about who we thought potentially would go down. Luton now. Luton in 17th and Everton 18th. So still all to play for.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Burnley and Sheffield United are down with 13 points. So that's a given. But it's a shame. I'd hope Everton stay up. I really do.
Well, they need to. This new stadium being built, don't they?
This is it. You can't. Cost wise, they're going to be absolutely crippled. Crippled. Championships sort of all but over. Leicester 11 points clear at the top.
I mean, another win yesterday.
Yeah, Rotherham 12 points from the drop. So you can probably pick your top and bottom of those leagues. So
I see Southampton got yet another win, so they're still on their unbeaten run in September, didn't they? Nice, got 5 goals past Huddersfield, so that was a
Yeah.
That's a great one for them as well. And I see your home team, Doncaster Rovers, finally picked up a win yesterday.
I know, they needed it. They've
So, fun fact, that's actually the first win since 2010.
I'll be honest, Jordan. I'll be honest. It feels like it. It really does.
Yeah.
They are now 10 points clear of the bottom because there is such a drop down to Sutton. But Doncaster really needed that. But before we go, tonight is the big one, the
Super Bowl,
the World Cup final of American football, apparently, because they will become world champions. Kansas City Chiefs are there again. I can't see beyond them, if I'm honest. James, you're a little bit into your American football-ish.
Nah, I think Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback currently in the NFL. I just think he's going to absolutely run circles around the 49ers tonight. I don't think the 49ers are going to even get a sniff in. The Chiefs' defense is absolutely out of this world. I'm just the most exciting thing for me, and I think I could talk on behalf of all of us here, is will Taylor Swift make it on time?
I genuinely thought you were going to say the most exciting thing here is Usher doing the halftime show, and I would have been like,
No.
yeah, that is for me. But
no, why on earth? With all due respect, it's one of the biggest sporting events in the world. It brings in millions of people. It brings in people like myself and others, these plastic NFL fans that don't watch it any other time of the year, but just watch the Super Bowl. And of all the people in all the world, you dig Usher up and bring him in when you could have why Usher? What's he been doing for the last 15, 20 years? You know,
quite a bit. But do you know what though? I went back and looked at the last sort of 20 years worth of people, and the turn of the century, you kind of had like the Who, Paul McCartney, the Eagles, you know, Bruce Springsteen. You had some and then 2010 came in, and they went Katy Perry, Beyonce, you know, got Rihanna. Not last year was Rihanna, the year before was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Kendrick Lamar.
And that's the thing for me. That one's not going to be topped. The Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre one. I don't think that one's ever going to be topped. This
will be the nearest, but I'm with you. That for me, you'd pay an awful lot of money to see that.
I was going to say, speaking of awful lot of money, have you actually seen the ticket prices for the game?
I've seen.
Honestly, like the people inside that stadium. So it's a 65,000 seater stadium just behind Mandalay Bay Hotel, right in the center of Las Vegas. Fantastic venue. $65,000 for pitch side. If you want to
$65,000 for pitch side ticket.
$65,000, yeah. So by the way, the event is sold out. There was some ZZ behind a pillar, like nosebleed kind of territory. You're still talking between $5,000 and $9,000 for the cheapest and most distant seats. So if you want to find 65,000 really, really, really stupidly being the key word, rich people that want to go and see the Super Bowl, that is a sporting event. Sorry, the Super Bowl is 1,000,000% the one.
I'm just looking at some of these Super Bowl stats now, and you're right. The cheapest resale ticket costs just over $5,000.
Insane, isn't it? I was watching a video before we started recording as well. So this fan is like live streaming from the event, and they're like walking around showing you like where everything is and set up and stuff like that. A Coke and a Gatorade was $43.
$43.
$43 for a Coke and a Gatorade.
I think that can of Corona that was $9 in Florida, James, seems a bit of a steal now.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this here, the 1.5 billion chicken wings that are going to be eaten. 1.5 billion. I mean, that's a...
I reckon...
It's the National Chicken Council.
It's unfair that they'd air how many chicken wings I'd have a bash at in one go. Because I really could.
That'll certainly give you a ring of fire eating 1.5 million.
God, yeah, it would. Well, next week we'll go over the outcome of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be more about the game itself and not how unfortunate it was for someone to attend or to play the game and not have his girlfriend there because she got caught up on a flight somewhere else. So, and fingers crossed, it's a better week in terms of football with a bit more news. And obviously, with the final F1 liveries going into the season the following week, should be exciting.
We'll have all the cars out.
Yeah.
Ready for the 29th.
Yes.
Cracking.
Gentlemen, take care.
Look after
Take care,
yourself. See you later, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Sportscast podcast. As normal, you'll get us on our social media, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at SportscastPod UK. Join us again next week.